finally some great development for Wendy as we finally get to see it. What a lot of people were like, I know, I've been wanting to see this for a while. Dragon Force Wendy. Finally something happens with this character. Because I'm not even going to like straight up tell you right now. Like, I've always think, so long as you've seen any of my chapters or episode reviews, so I've always like think Wendy's like the weakest character in the series. She's also done least of anything, like she's not the one to get into fights, and I know people saying, oh well, she's the healer, you know, she's the enchanter, she's the one that supports people from the side. Regardless of what, she hasn't been able to like do anything really character developing for herself. And then when you just compare her to like all these badass bitches that we had, you know, when we got Juvia, Ezel, like any other, like I think even Kana's done more in the story than even her, like even Lucy as well. And Lucy, you know what, a lot of times she can be pretty badass for some of the moments she has, but even still she has some silly moments to her. But Wendy, she really hasn't had anything apart from that, like apart from taking the L's and stuff like that, and like only having that one fight with Shelly. Like she hasn't really done too much in the series. And this is why one of my favorite parts of Tara is where she finally develops as a character, and she finally gets something on her own and actually grows up and matures as both a fucking fighter and as a character at the same time. So this episode, straight to start off, we got to see Frau Mouse like using Master Hatters and so like that is like, wow, fucking Hades, that motherfucker's powerful as fuck. And it's just like, the guy can absorb any kind of magical soul, even stuff from like Natsu's like Lightning Fire Emperor, like it's like that shit just like got absorbed, and he was just hitting Natsu. Like I'm surprised like those two were going like blow to blow, they were going very easily, like they were taking each other on that, which is nice to see that in the series, because you know all the time it's not like, oh, you take one punch from Natsu, it's fucking done. Like, so it's kind of nice to see like that differ for this fight as well, as he's actually struggling with this fight. I will say though, one thing I get to complain with is like the actual fight itself is like, just, you know, Lucy's just standing there saying, oh, face is gonna go off, and it's like, yeah, well, that's what you got Wendy for, you're just gonna have to bleed her. How are you fucking help right now? And not to mention, we did get to see a bunch of the other fights that were like proceeding through this episode. We did get to see like Kyoko's fight with Urza. We also got to see Sailor versus Mira Jane. Although Mira Jane is going a little bit hot-headed at the moment, because what happened to Elfman is like, Elfman really wants to be reunited, as we saw like a bit of in-canon filler with them, which I got to say, you know, they really are trying to make sure they don't catch up way too much or finish this out very much. But then as well, they only do like a minute or so of like in-canon filler, even two I'd say at the best. Like they only just do these small little minutes with like Makarov running, or like say like, you know, Power and all them are like fighting a little bit for that. I feel like it's okay, Fairy Tail, if you need to do some in-canon filler, because let's be honest, it's more funner than fucking One Piece's in-canon filler, or just Rebecca fighting fodder for an entire episode. It's fine, you don't have to do that. You can just have them fight something for 5 minutes. Like, just have some demons or something like that. You know, hell, this might even get some characters and better, like, fucking characterization in the filler or something. Like, you know, this would work better. It's a win, kind of win-win. Like, you know, if you know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, I feel like they should be doing that, but instead it's like, nah, let's just focus on the main stuff, which, you know, I can kind of understand that, but the main focus of this episode was really the Wendy versus Ezel fight that started, and just the Ezel, which is fucking, like, she was just there when she got to that cave, and she was, like, being scared, and Ezel came around just using his fucking slashing attacks, like, just fucking, like, Wendy up. You saw, like, part of the fucking hair just fly off. Even Charlotte was going to be eaten if it wasn't the Wendy kind of growing up and realizing, like the reason why, like, the air feels so differently here is because it's a lot more fresher because of, like, the ethereal nanos being there, and it's like, oh, if I absorb this, maybe I could just be a little bit like Natsu's. And she was saying, she did inspire to be Natsu. Like, she did that there, and she did something that Natsu would do and get strong and, you know, take it to the fucking enemy. And this is one thing that, you know, I absolutely love. And not to mention as well, I love her Dragon Force. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Like, I love how it differentiates from, like, Natsu's one, Gajiel's, and definitely as well, like, with hers, it's just, like, she's got, like, the pink hair and, like, the feathers everywhere. That's what I really love about her one. And that also as well, when she's in that mode, she's always in badass mode. So that's what I definitely love about that. I wish we saw a little bit more of that, to be fair, but then as well, we gotta wait for that next week, because, you know, it was a kind of enjoyable episode, and it's like, yeah, I really did have fun with this one. Anything I can really complain about this episode is that I did notice that the animation was going very well at some points, but then some points, especially during the Ezel fight with Wendy, and then even some bits with Keith as well, when Gray was fighting, and there was really stale animation at like some points. So it was like, looked really out, like just still images like that. And I gotta say, you know, that was the only like nitpick I can really have. Apart from this was a great episode. Huge development for Wendy. Like, she finally actually conquered her fears, you know, kind of always being like, you know, I'm going to be the guy on the sidelines to help. No, you got to fucking fight this time, Wendy. You got to do this on your own. You got to take down one of the members of Tyrus yourself. It was a great episode. I honestly would give this a straight solid use like that. But like I said, I don't want them to catch too much up to the series like that. I think, honestly, you know, maybe after they do this arc, and then maybe the tiny arc afterwards, I think they should do a big, heavy filler arc. That is something I really want them to do, because, you know, I really don't like series catching up with the content, because then you get, like, way too close to it, and then you have to keep doing filler to filler to filler to filler. And especially with a series like Fairy Tail, it's a lot more easier to do filler as well. Like, you can just do in-canon filler at some parts, and then also as well, they do take a lot of breaks, and it's like, you know, I don't want that to be happening. It's like we have another Bleach situation where Bleach really has a hard time taking breaks in between the series, and that's why they had to, like, just out of nowhere do, like, filler out of nowhere. And, like, you know, with Fairy Tail they can do that, and it's maybe we should have, like, you know, a 24 episode filler, you know, episode like coming after this arc or something. I feel like that should be something that should be done, but it's like, hey, that's pretty much like how I personally feel. But that's all for me. I want to thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time.